Welcome to Tools and Tactics for this Thursday. Hope you're all doing really well. As per normal, I'm using a slightly different mechanism today. So if you could all, when you jump on, whack something into the chat box so that I can see that you guys are here. That would be super awesome. So today we're going to go through some tools and tactics. So I guess let's just sort of kick into it, because I'm wondering whether you've ever wanted to start investing, but you maybe just didn't have enough to get going, and that's been a bit of a roadblock for you moving forward. Or perhaps you've just getting into the investment side of the equation has just all been a little bit too in the hard basket. Where do I go? What do I invest in? How much do I need? All of that sort of stuff. Maybe it's that you've got a good investment game already and you want to strap that sucker to a rocket, right? Whatever the case may be, we're going to give you some tools in order to be able to get started and some tips to get started. So if that's you, that's great. Because today I'm going to give you some of the tools that I use personally and with our clients in order to start investing without thinking, without feeling it, in a way that just becomes a part of your day-to-day life. And to a degree, it just happens kind of autonomously in the background, which is the best part. So if you're there, as I said, using a different one, that's awesome. You guys are already here. So Melinda, hey, good to see you. It's as I said, we're always trying different types of technology here. So it's great to get some feedback from you guys. I can't actually see how many of you are on live in the one that I'm using, but thank you, Melinda. So if anybody else is in there, please whack something in the chat box so I know that you're here and are listening. And we'll start cracking into it in a few seconds. So yep, whack something in the chat box. Let me know where you're at. Jeanette, thank you very much. Hey, how you doing? Hope everyone is having a great Thursday afternoon. So let's get into it. Let's get into the tools for today. Mark, how you doing, mate? Good to see you again. So, actually, there's been a couple more come through there. We'll just see who's yapping away. I might have to come back to this screen periodically because I can't see all of the comments as they're coming through. But really appreciate you guys helping me out and letting me know that you're out there. So, okay, they're not there. So let's just get into it. Just making sure, seeing if I can actually get this chat up somewhere else. But that's cool. I'll come back maybe at the end and we can do some Q&A sort of stuff at the end. So let's keep going. Right, so as we know, Tools and Tactics relates to Monday, which is all about Money Monday, which is all about the high-level strategy. So we're looking at all the different parts of the financial foundation wheel. So we're really focusing on you at the moment. You meaning we're focusing on how it is that you set yourself up. And when it comes to investing, when it comes to cash flow management, we're going to bridge a couple of these fields at the moment. And let me just unravel some of the stuff that we're going to go through. And let me just be very clear. I'm going to show you the insides of a couple of programs that we use. Let me be absolutely dead clear in this. This is not an endorsement of the products that I'm going to show you. I'm not going to mention them. I just want to show you some of the mechanics of how this sort of stuff works. All right. So super critical. You do need to chat with your advisors and make your own decisions and look at the product disclosure statements before making any type of investment decision. But what I'm going to give you is tools and let you understand about a few different things that you can use to make it super progressive. So just to recalibrate for those of you who are just jumping on board, if you are one of those people who just haven't been able to get investing or haven't been able to break through and make that start, whether you're a business owner or professional, perhaps you've already got a good investment strategy and you just want to strap it to a rocket and get it really roaring along. Or maybe it's been in the too hard basket and you're just looking for something that is super simple. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that right now. So if that's you, great, let's get into it. Because these are literally tools that I use with our clients. As I said, I'm not going to be endorsing any products here. You should chat with your advisor about that, but I'm happy to go through what's possible, right? And this is all about millimeters into mountains. making tiny little micro moves that can eventually move mountains one day. And this is a very, very, very progressive way of investing. It's super simple as well. It's a strategy that I've developed and it's probably out there with other people as well, I don't know, but it is now possible through the use and advancements in technology. So don't freak out when I get my geek out because this is going to be super, super, super simple. I promise you all. So the automation side of the equation, right? One of the biggest hurdles I find to investing is that there's a lot of points in friction. All right, so you either have to chat with your broker, your advisor, and I believe that you still should have those people in here. But there are also ways that you can start to get your journey and you can start to automate this. And there's a couple of sort of investments now that I'm going to chat about, which allow you to do like this dude's doing now, basically just automate all of this stuff. So it just happens in the background autonomously. You don't have to think about it too much. You do need to be careful about what you choose and the platforms you choose to do that. And that's where good advice comes in. But I'm going to take you through some things that you may not be aware actually exist that make it so much easier. So these are the concepts that we're going to run through today. So there's a few different ways of investing. So the first one is what's called micro investing. So this is where we can take really, really small amounts, cents, and start investing them. And I don't mean common cents, I mean dollars and cents. We can literally start investing with cents, right? And we can do this through micro investing platforms, of which there's numerous here in Australia, and you should investigate them, but I'm going to show you one that I use personally. And it's a way that you can literally take just very, very small investments and have them actually start to accumulate for you. Then we've got what I call small scale investments, right? So these are investments that you can get into with a reasonably small amount of cash, right? So you don't have to necessarily jump straight to the retail world. And the retail world is really where, and that retail investing is where probably most of you have seen or been at some point in time. And this is an area which does have certain amounts, like you do need certain amounts of money in order to start to get into the retail side of the equation. And there are certain points of friction that you need to come over. Like in retail investing, it's pretty common that you need a minimum of 25,000 to get started, right? Or for that economy of scale to make sense. And then there's a wholesale side of the equation, which we're not really going to talk about today, but that's when we're talking about you need large sums of cash, $100,000 to $1 million to go into it. But this is how it can start up. You can literally go from one to the other. So what are we talking about with each of these? I'm super glad you asked. So micro investing is all about rounding up. There are micro investing platforms out there, which basically every time you spend money, it rounds up the amount that you've spent and it allocates that for an investment portfolio. What do I mean by that? So you go down, you tap your card and you get yourself a coffee for $4.50. It rounds it up. It goes and allocates that 50 cents to a pool of funds, which it will invest at the end of the week or at the end of the day, depending on the platforms that you use, right? If you spend $1, it's $1. So every time you spend, you're actually taking some money off the table and you're allocating it. Remember I said it's about millimeters, taking small little movements at periods of time so that you can just start to create inertia, which allows you to build up over time. And this is about taking small little steps that eventually become very, very big steps. And so by doing this rounding up strategy, you can eventually get to a point where you can go to small scale investing, right? Where you might need $1,000 or a couple of $1,000 for it to make sense. Right? And you can use platforms to do this as well. Or perhaps you want to take larger amounts like $100 a week or $200 a week, whatever the case may be. Maybe it's $1,000 a week, but you have the small scale startup in order to be able to fund it. And again, this is just a direct debit that goes out every single week, right? You set it up once and it just happens autonomously in the background, which then allows you to build up your micro investing, which just rounds up autonomously in the background, and that'll just slowly accumulate over time. And then you might have enough to then push it across into the small scale investing, which is, a couple of $100 on direct debit every week. And you might take a chunk from the micro account and put it into the scaling account. And then we've got the retail investing world. So this is kind of what it looks like. You will do the little roundup strategy whereby every time you spend, there's $1, 50 cents, 20 cents, 10 cents, that all accumulates over time and it goes in straight into an investment. Then when you get that to a certain scale, you can transfer that across into a small scale investing platform, right? Where you can then maybe step up the game a little bit because you're used to having those little small bits taken off the table. Maybe you start off $50 a week. Maybe it's $100 a week. Maybe it's $1,000 a week. But you can start to get into these smaller scale investments, right? And then from there, whoops, that's going backwards. Then when that accumulates, we can then look at going into the retail investing world. And the retail investing world is where you could set up direct debits, but that you need a larger sum of cash to go into it. But then you can set up direct debits that just autonomously every week start to do it. So you can see the strategy here. We've started with micro investments, 50 cents, 20 cents. That just happens in the background via technology. And then once that habit's built up, we look at small scale investing where it might be, that $50 a week, $100 a week, whatever that amount is, because you've already done the micro. You haven't missed those small amounts that have gone missing. You then basically take that amount and you go, okay, well, I've been doing $50 a week. So maybe I just use a small scale investing platform in order to be able to then take that $50 off the table every week. You won't notice it because you're just doing small little amounts each time. And then once you get to the retail world, well, you could take a chunk, maybe 25 grand that you built yourself up to, put it into retail and start a direct debit so it gets more serious, right? So these are the types of investment platforms that a lot of people don't know about, and they're super easy for you to access. So hopefully that's already starting to make sense, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we'll just jump across here into the next platform. Now remember, I'm not endorsing these products in any way, shape or form. You should absolutely 100% contact an advisor or make up your own decision by reading the product disclosure statements. Okay, this is not investment advice. This is just to show you how it actually works. Right, so here is an example that I'm going to take you through. Right. So this platform is one where it rounds up your transactions. So we can see here, right? This is literally my spending that's going on in the background here. And you can see Caltex, $48. So it 19 cents. It rounded that up. So it took 81 cents that it invested it, right? If we go down, we're Artisan Home in Cheltenham, right? $49.99. That 1 cent went in and it started to invest that. So what happens, and there we go, I've got some coffees down there at $19, maybe coffee for the team, right? And just rounded up $1. Now this might seem, inconsequential, but basically what ends up happening is over a period of time, this amount starts to increase, as you can see here, right? So currently I've got, around about $2,470 that's just accumulated over the course of a year, and I haven't even really noticed it coming out of the account. You don't notice it, right? It's just millimeters, small little millimeters, right? And then this is a different investment platform, right? And this is one where you can see here there's an amount, $200 weekly, that actually goes out and goes in there. So now this is up to $3,700 odd. Right, so I've got the micro investing account just taking small amounts, and that's accumulated over the course of maybe a year. And then this account accumulates, bit by bit by bit as we go through it. So what ends up happening is if we cruise back to this screen, right, you can see that that over here, right, we've got the micro investing account that just takes small amounts of money off the table each time. Then we've got our direct debit sort of thing that's happening, but just smaller amounts that is consistently being invested. And then once you've got those, I take chunks, so out of those platforms, and I put that into my retail investing world, right? So when they build up to 10 grand or whatever it is, transfer them across into our retail investing. Now that might be direct stocks. It might be managed funds, whatever that retail investing looks like to you. So that is a real tactic that you guys can start to deploy at any point in time, because there's no amount that's too small to get into it. It comes with some caveats. When you look at this sort of stuff, you need to look at the fees that sit behind the products, right? So if you're looking at a micro investing account and it's only ever getting $20 per year into it, which would be kind of small, right? But it has a $20 a year fee, then probably not worth doing. So there might be certain amounts of money that you need to put into these accounts initially to create an economy of scale to make sure that it works. But literally those monies that go in are just constant, right? And the beauty about it being constant is that eventually you can start just ramping it up, $50 a week, $51 a week, $52 a week. You can just keep on going, and this accumulates in the background. So hopefully that has been a really interesting tool and tactics that you can deploy yourself into whatever investment world that you're going to look at. But this is just what I think is a really, really clever way of being able to just take small amounts off the table, and it builds very, very good habits, right? You start to build these habits in that just become autonomous over time, and you don't even notice it happening. So whack some questions into the question box if you've got any, and we'll see them come up, or the question box into the comments field. I've re-brought up the chat. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to watch it right the way through. The way that I'm coming to you today is different, so I haven't been able to see the active comments. I might just flip across to a different screen and see whether I can actually see them coming through on my page. So let me have a look, which I can. Alan, you've been dabbling. That's awesome. There's Justin's in there. Good to see you, mate. All right, so that's in there. So, we've got Alan, yep, dabbling with the Raise platform. So again, I'm not endorsing the platforms because I'm not allowed to, but I'm not about endorsing those sort of platforms. But what I'd suggest that you do is you go out and you do your own research on the various different things. So the terms to Google is micro investing. Do your own research, figure out what's going to work for you. And then you can have a look at small scale investment funds, right? And you can find those as well. And the beauty about it, many of them, is they're app based, right? So you need to be careful. You need to choose the ones that are right for you. And then the types of investments that you go into, they need to be, according to, your risk profile. So again, not endorsing the products, and for me, it's less about the underlying investment and it's more about the healthy habits that you're actually building in. And the beauty is that you can do this without even thinking about it, without really even feeling it. And the key is to just notch it up little bit by little bit so that you don't really notice it. If you go from zero to hero, then you might bust up your own strategy. But this is one way that you can start investing and you can start to build in really, really healthy habits. Now, if you want to put it and strap it to a rocket, then absolutely you can do that, right? You can play a much bigger game. It's totally up to you which direction that you want to go with that, because you can do the same thing, and I do the same thing in my life, right? I use all of the tools that I talk about, and what that does is it just accumulates, and it's amazing how much accumulates when you look back, and it's like, well, I didn't actually notice that money going out. So these are some tools that you can use in order to be able to start investing. Have a chat with your advisors, find out whether they're able to give you some guidance there. And again, I stress you've got to read the information. When it comes to investment, get investment advice from somebody, get it from a professional. But these are areas that I think that you guys should know about in order to be able to make it simple and make it make sense and bring investing to just a part of your life rather than this big scary thing that we get into. And here's the thing is that once you start to look at it, once you start to use it, then you're just going to start to become more savvy with it, because eventually you're going to start to take notice when all of a sudden you've got 100 and something K that's sitting in these platforms. You're probably going to start to take more of an interest. And ultimately, the more interest that you take, the more benefit that you're going to get from it, because you're going to become more involved in it. And as you become more involved in it, you're going to become more assertive with it. And then that's where the fun really starts and where the growth journey really goes. So hopefully you've all enjoyed that. I've enjoyed chatting with you guys today. I'm super excited about this sort of stuff. I love geeking out on it. But these are little tricks and tools and tactics that you can use personally in your life, but make sure that you get the right advice before doing it. Have a great rest of the Thursday, everybody. Look forward to seeing you all real soon. And next time I won't use this style of platform so that I can actually communicate with all of you more actively on Money Monday. So we will see you on Monday, same time, 5:30 on Mondays, every Mondays, Money Monday, where we talk about the strategy. All right, so the overarching things that we need to be looking at, the questions that we need to be asking ourselves. And then on Thursday, we go tactical and we go, okay, so given the strategy and the way that we need to think about it, now we're going to get some tactical tools so that we can start to deploy this. And so we're giving you the context and then we're giving you the tools for execution. So have an awesome Thursday. Let us know if you like it. Let us know if there's something that you want to cover. We've got a whole lot of stuff that we've planned out over the coming weeks and months. And really, it is all about trying to serve you guys and bring value to your lives. So let me know if there's things that are big queries that you've got. Drop it in the chat box so that then I know and I can address it. It might be on the agenda, but I'll bring it forward for you guys. So let me know what's important in your life and we'll try and cover it. Have a great Thursday, everybody. Great to see you. Thank you for spending the time. And hopefully you've found it valuable. We will catch you on Money Monday, next Monday, 5:30 p.m. See you all then.